Good evening and welcome to Kidlit Live. I'm Arden Jones. I just feel like if you've just watched a show, we now have another show just a few days later, and for me that's really exciting. So I get to speak to more people in a shorter space of time. So I'm very happy that tonight I finally have the amazing author illustrator Emma Reynolds here with me. I love her books. I have Amara and the Bats here, and I cannot wait to read her new book, and we're going to talk about that very soon. So if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to say hi. You can comment, and I'll be able to see your comments and I can mention them to Emma. If you're watching on Twitter, I'm really sorry, but unfortunately I can't see the comments or anything. So just head over to Arden Jones Author on YouTube and I can ask Emma some questions or just say hello if you want to. So if you're watching, just give her a warm welcome and we'll get to say hi. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, sorry for the delay in our meeting. It's been I think this is like the third the time change, or it could be even the fourth. Who knows? But I'm glad that we're finally here, and it was this year, and it wasn't like I didn't end up having to go, can we do it next year, please? But yes,
it wasn't that bad. We've just been very, very busy. We're busy people, so it's really nice to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so happy to chat to you. Just hope you've had a lovely. Oh, it's Monday. I'm like, had a lovely week so far. I had a lovely last week and weekend.
It does feel like I'm halfway through the week because I was working yesterday, so yeah, it doesn't feel like a Monday. Yeah, you too.
I mean, usually this is like a Thursday for me, so I've done a few days already, so I'm a bit lost. But I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so happy that you've agreed to come on and we get to speak about your amazing books and your journey. And like the reason I started Kidlit Live is to help people on their journeys of whether they're illustrators, whether they're authors, but like at all different stages of their journeys. I have people on that aren't even published yet, have people that are just starting out, people that are multi-award-winning like authors, illustrators, and I just love that we get to like chat to people at all different stages. So and I think it's really helpful to people. So I think listening to your journey will be really interesting and will help so many people that are out there trying to get started on their journey and wanting to know what to do next. And so, yeah, I'm really happy to speak with you. And a question that I ask everybody when they're on, whether they're in publishing or whether they're writers or illustrators, is this something you've always known you wanted to do? Have you always been an illustrator and written as well, or is it something that, especially for children, something that's come a bit later?
That's a lovely question, and I'm always happy to answer it because I always love hearing about how people got started as well. So yeah, I've kind of always drawn. That's kind of like a forever hobby of mine. I've always loved drawing and making stories up, and I used to make little books and staple them together even before I'd started school. I was always into that. So yeah, it was kind of like my oldest dream job, probably from about the age of 5. I've wanted to make my own books. And then, yeah, like every kid, I wanted to be a marine biologist at one point because I love the ocean. And then, yeah, when I went to school, like secondary school, that is, it was like the most boring lessons. And that's such a shame because I'm sure there are amazing science teachers out there and there's all these amazing careers I had no idea were possible. But I thought, oh, science mustn't be for me. So I kind of just stuck with the art and I studied that all the way through to uni. And so yes, I've always wanted to do it basically. But I definitely got back into the idea of being a picture book illustrator specifically in uni when we learned about making a picture book dummy for the first time. I really, really love that process. And yeah, that kind of reignited that passion specifically because I was thinking, oh, maybe I could get into stop motion animation, maybe I'll just be a general illustrator. But yeah, that really cemented that old love.
Oh, that's amazing. Like how good that must have felt to just create your own sort of picture book already, like before you've even carried on that journey. It's like one of the first things that you do. I think that's lovely.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
And so when you're illustrating, there's so many people use different types of like ways to illustrate. They might use like Procreate or actually just be drawing using their hands. It's like how we've always done it from a child. And I just love that there's so many different ways that you can create illustrations and beautiful illustrations. So I'm really interested in how you create yours.
So I do a mixture. So I tend to start either drawing in a sketchbook, but I'm not like, I don't buy fancy sketchbooks because the pressure's too much. So if I do buy one with a beautiful cover, it just stays empty because I can't deal with it.
I'm the same with writing, to be honest. I've got some beautiful ones and I'm like, I can't even put my name in it yet. I'm just like, because I'll write it really messy and then I'll just ruin it. So yeah, they're just
I can't be a perfectionist when it comes to sketchbooks. But yeah, I get the ones that I don't want to get out of my chair because you'll all see my pajama bottoms. But yeah, I just get like a regular sketchbook that has just like, it's an A4 pad on the front, but it's got nice paper inside, and I like draw ideas in there. And so I'm a bit of a grandma with I like my puzzle books that you get from Smith's, and I'll draw, like, if I'm really relaxed, I'll kind of draw like in the margins of that my ideas. So a lot of my ideas happen there. And then when it comes to making the kind of final art, I will outline it in Procreate because it's a really, really good drawing program. And then the outlines are already on an alpha channel, like a transparent background. So it's really easy to edit it. And the pencil looks like real pencil, which is really great. And then I bring it into Photoshop because I need all of the layers because I still work in a very multi-layered way as a habit I built from working in animation. So before I became an author illustrator, I spent 6 years working in animation as a character designer. So a lot of those habits of layering everything separately so you can move it has stayed.
I mean, that must make life easier though, especially when you're I think I was speaking with Sarah Massini, and she said that because there's books that when you're, I think it was Grandpa and the Kingfisher, was the Kingfisher was different for the US print, so her layers, it was just easy to take that layer out and do that. So I'd imagine that does make life easier, being able just to quickly swap a layer around.
Yeah, I love that book, by the way. It's a beautiful book. And I did actually have to do something similar for Amara and the bats, because what we have is called a bat box, and it's a very small wooden design, and you do hang them on trees. But in America, it's like a much bigger black bat house, and you hang it on poles away from trees. You can't hang them on trees because the big birds will eat the bats. So I was like very careful that we had to have separate artwork for the two editions because I don't want to give people bad bat conservation advice. Yeah. So yeah, that was easy to just swap out the layers that way.
I mean, just thinking of bats now, because I'm like, I suppose that would depend on where we are in our country, because obviously there are places where you get quite big birds.
But it's the guidelines are just completely different. They have like massive like eagles and stuff, and different bats have different needs around the world. So I had to make sure that the UK one was specific for our bats, and the US one had different artwork. So yeah, it's really good that with that layers, so you can just swap things out and move things around if there's an edit.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. I mean, I am all for any kind of drawing. I do have an iPad, and I did install Procreate, and I have tried to use it. I even got like the cover that goes over the top, so it feels like you're drawing on paper.
Yeah.
Which feels really lovely, but yeah, they're really awful. I'm really not good.
So I believe that everyone can do art, and I do believe that everyone can be taught, but you can't teach the passion. But you can inspire people, but it's just like you don't like come out the womb good at drawing. So everyone's learning all the time. So keep going. If you enjoy it, keep going. That's what I always say.
It's fun. I
don't. If you're having fun, that's all that matters.
My time is just taken up completely now. So, yes. But I do want to have a little play. It did give me inspiration for one of my characters, which I didn't know where that come from. So I will still leave that to the professional to do that character, draw that character how they feel like it. But yeah, it helped with the story, and I'll be forever grateful for that. So
yeah, that's awesome though. That's really cool.
So we were just talking about Amara and the Bat. So it was published in 2021. So it's about bat conservation. Sorry, I need to say conversation. Then.
Conversation and conservation.
They do talk to each other. Bat conservation, peaceful protest, and community action. It's a Nautilus winner, and also it's been given the Junior Library Guild Gold Standard. Like, that's amazing. And voted best in STEM at the National Science Teacher Association. So huge, well done. That must have felt amazing.
It did.
I've huge congratulations, because what an achievement that is. So can you tell us more about Amara and the Bats, your inspirations for writing this book, and how the journey has been for you so far?
Yeah, so it was quite a long journey, Amara and the Bats. So I thought I drew the character of Amara again in the sketchbook back in 2016, and I thought I really want to make a story around this character, because there's just some, sometimes when you just draw a character like how you did, but that there's something there and you want to tell their story. And she was looking up curiously. It's like a pencil drawing of her with her arms behind her back, and I did a coloured version actually that ended up being in the title page. So it was a pencil version of this one here, and I imagined her looking up at this bat, and I immediately thought of the title, Amara and the Bats, and then it just went from there. And I was still working full-time in animation at the time, so I kind of put it away in a drawer and carried on my job for a bit, and then I loved my animation job. It was nice steady money for a while, but I wanted to tell my own stories rather than illustrating these pre-existing characters from this TV series. So I started to really seriously make a picture book portfolio. I made some portfolio pieces, and I was like, okay, I need a dummy book. So I started to develop this idea, and I put some of the final spreads that I'd illustrated up on Twitter, and I kind of was like, I want to make this a picture book, kind of manifesting it there. And I got a DM from my now agent, who had actually DM'd me 2 years before, but I'd completely forgotten about it because I didn't take it seriously, her DM. But I'd posted a colour collective, that hashtag that Penny Neville Lee started. I posted an illustration up on Twitter, and she DM'd me years ago saying, oh, this is really great. If you have any picture book ideas, let me know. And I was like, yeah. I don't know. I just didn't think it was like, I don't know. I just was like, oh, right, yeah, maybe. I didn't. You get so many messages sometimes, and you don't always think, I don't know what I was thinking, but but luckily she then saw my Amara and the Bats pieces that I'd done for this dummy book, and she DM'd me and said, oh, I see you now have a picture book. And I was like, oh my god, so lucky that she remembered. And yeah, I was actually looking for agents at that time, and I'd completely forgotten about this DM. And then we had a meeting, and we got on really well. We've got like the same kind of nerdy interests, and she was like, I'm a career agent, and that really, like, we just really gelled well. And yeah, she became my agent, Taolei at Central Easter in the US. And yeah, that's it. And then we worked on the book a few more times. So it was on like probably version 5 or 6 at this point. And the core of it stayed there, but my agent's very editorial, so she kind of helped me make it a really, really a stronger pitch. And then we went on submission, and in 2018 this was, 2019, because it took us a few months while I was finishing up my other job and stuff. And my editor, Julia McCarthy at Athenium, really loved it. And that was our yes. And yeah, then we made the book. And Julia was like the best editor to work with. She made it like the best possible version of itself and really like got it. She got the heart of it. And it was just a really, really wonderful experience. I'm really happy that it's out in the world after all this time, even though it was technically still a pandemic lockdown book. But I'm really grateful that it still did well despite all the challenges we've had.
Yeah, I feel like there's quite a conflicting thing that happened during the pandemic. So like some books did really well, and I don't think it's not because of how good the book was, but like a lot of people was so worried that about being out in the pandemic and being published, but more people were reading as well. So I feel like you was buying more stuff because we were constantly trying to entertain our children. I feel like more people bought books during that time. Do you so it was quite interesting that you said that it done really well considering it was a pandemic, and I feel like so many people did do well even though they thought they wouldn't, if that makes sense.
I think it definitely was affected by the fact that I couldn't go out in the world with it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do events, so like everything was kind of shut. People weren't really like leaving the house that much still. So I do think it was affected in that way. But yes, luckily people were still reading books. Which is very lucky because some industries just fell apart. What's that? Sorry.
It was just like spending all our money online to buy stuff to.
Well, yeah, because you're just. What else were you gonna do? Sit at home and buy Deliveroo, I guess. That's what I did. Oh dear. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how the market performed. I'm not that not got the data, but I did the best I could for it online, and like I did a lot of like promotion and did like some Instagram lives with like bat scientists, and I connected with a lot of bat charities. So I did do like a lot of promotion. Like I spent a good few months dedicating my time to that just to give it the best chance it could, because it was my author illustrated debut and I wanted to give it the best I could. And the publishers are happy with what I did, so that's all I know.
Yeah. And that's like not all that matters, but they're happy, you're happy, and it all worked out really well in the end. It must have been it was a scary time, but just to be on your debut at that point, that must have been quite worrying.
It was bizarre.
Yeah,
it was worrying because I thought, I'd spent all these years like working towards this, and then I can't do half the things I wanted to. So for Drawn to Change the World, that was the first time I could like paint a window and like go to book signing, like do a book signing. Like for Amara and the Bats, I don't think I saw my book in a physical bookshop for months after it came out. So yeah, it was bizarre, and like I'm a little bit sad I never knew what it was like before the pandemic for authors, but I feel like things are slightly getting back to not normal now, where I'm seeing a little bit more how things were with this new book. So
yeah,
but I'm still grateful for all the experience and the feedback we've had, and like seeing people actually put up their own like bat box, and like hear that it's like changed people's minds about bats, and like all these amazing things people have told me from several countries around the world. It's just so lovely.
Wow. Oh, that must feel so good.
Yeah, it's really special.
Yeah. We get, just where we are, we get bats. They just fly just around, just above our roof, like in circles. So we're in quite a woody area. So I suppose to be fair, I don't know too much about bats. I know what I've read from your book, so that was amazing.
But that's good you have bats.
It has changed my view on them. I was probably a little bit scared of them before, but they're actually really lovely creatures. I think you just grow up and they're like, that you only really hear of them at Halloween and scary times. And yeah, I've always been a bit of a wimp, but but they're actually really lovely, and they're so cute.
They are cute.
All the little bats that you've drawn in your book, there's just all the different types of them. I'm just like, I look at them and they're just all so lovely. There's so many different bats out there, and
I know.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So yeah, I'm really glad that I bought that book when you published it, and you had the badge and everything that come along with it. So it was really, really sweet, and it's such a cute little bat. I love that.
Thank you.
So you mentioned just now, so your latest book, which is out now, and you're getting to go out and talk about it, and like you said, do your window displays, which must be amazing. So it's called Drawn to Change the World. It's 16 youth climate activists, 16 artists, and it's a middle grade graphic novel with each activist bio illustrated by an acclaimed artist from around the world. It's absolutely stunning, and it really covers some important topics. So like I asked with Amara, so what your inspirations for this, because I'm loving your reasons for writing. So to hear your journey about how you came to write this book would be really amazing. So can you just tell us a bit about your journey with Drawn to Change the World?
It was another long journey, not quite as long of a span as almost as Amara, but so I started pitching a version of this book in 2019. This version was pitched in 2020, which is in graphic novel form, which was so I'll just rewind a little bit to early 2019 when I started something called Kidlit for Climate, which is like a hashtag and social handles that you might have heard of.
Yeah.
Because the youth climate strikes, the school strike for climate, started to come over to Europe in a big way in early 2019. And it really angered me that the press weren't seeing it in a positive light at first. And I was like, what can I do in my field of work as a children's author and illustrator to make a difference? So at this point, I was doing the finals for Rescue Mrs. Birdie. And apologies to my art director and editor, because I took 2 weeks off and got distracted with Kid of a Climate. But yeah, so I put a brief up online and said, draw a children protester, and we'll share them all in one big image for the world's first global climate strike. And I thought I'd maybe get about 30, but it ended up that I got thousands and thousands sent to me, and it went viral, and it was really amazing how many people from the industry supported it. And that's how that started. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we made a book or something? But I knew from the start I didn't want it to just be a book filled with adults with their illustrations going, aren't we great, kind of patting ourselves on the back kind of thing. I wanted to bring it back to the youth climate activists who we'd made it for in the first place. So I always knew I wanted it to be about biographies of these climate activists from around the world and have that kind of interspersed with some of the Kidlit for Climate images. But when we pitched it to Megan Elnitsky, who's ended up being my editor on this book at Harper Alley in the US, she said, what if we made it a graphic novel? And we were like, that sounds awesome. So I did another pitch, made another comic pitch.
This is just when graphic novels are just starting to get really big, so it was a great time as well.
Exactly, yeah, and they've kind of blown up a lot more in the US already, and like the UK is kind of finally catching on that kids love comics. Finally. So yeah, we pitched it as a graphic novel, and we got it, and that's when the book started happening. So yeah, that was all pitched just after the pandemic kicked off. So at the very beginning of the pandemic, I had like loads of creative energy, and I did like loads of stuff, and then things got really stressful and terrible for various reasons. But yeah, that initial kind of panic life world turned on its head energy, I pitched this book, and that's what I've spent the last 3 years working on, basically, with lots of other people. And yeah, a lot of us were going through the worst time of our lives, me included, whilst making this book, and it got delayed a couple of times for various reasons. And I'm actually really glad it did, in a way, because it meant I was able to like edit it finally with a clear head and make it the book that it was meant to be. So I'm so glad it's out. I'm so glad it's finished. And I can't wait to work on a quicker book next. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of what we've made, and like it's a huge team effort. I always call it our book, because it is our book. It's not my book. It's me and my editor, all the team, like all of the amazing artists and guest writers and all the activists I interviewed. So yeah, there's so much beautiful artwork. I've got some pictures of it on the website, and you can I'm going to share more about it over the next few months, of course. So yeah, that's our book. Long explanation, but yep.
Well, it's just an amazing journey, and considering, both books, one came out right during the pandemic, and then the other one was acquired during that time you was working on it. It's so much in it, because although it felt like forever during that time, it was actually in our life journeys quite a small amount, and you've done so much in that amount of time. And now we're coming out of it. Like, we're not, I don't know if we ever will be, but like totally out of it, but we're beginning to get more of a general life. So like you said, your book that you're working on now, hopefully it won't be as long and it'll be less stressful because things are moving. Well, I think
fingers
publishing
crossed.
is starting to move a bit faster
Yeah,
than it was anyway during the
I think
pandemic.
something awful has happened every single time I've done finals for each of my books. So Rescue Mrs. Birdley
So,
worked on in 2019, and we got
yes.
made homeless while I was doing finals.
Oh
Not our fault,
no.
the landlord's fault, because he didn't pay his mortgage. Long story, but anyway, then it came out in 2020. Then I was working tomorrow on the bats, and I was hospitalised with colitis. And then I was working on George St. World, and I had a cancer scare and had major surgery. Oh my god, it's just been the most hardest years of my life. So I'm like, we got through it. We've got 3 books, but yeah, I'm ready for some rest, and I'm ready for things to be a bit simpler, please, universe.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that's all passed and things are looking better. And yeah, we will just keep going as we all do, and things will get better. And I'm sure the next book you'll have some more happier memories of that becoming published. That would be
I mean, lots of good things have happened too. I would just love some less chaos. Would be great. Yeah.
So I did mention earlier, so like my original idea is to help and inspire people on their journeys. So you mentioned earlier that you're represented by Theo Lee at Sandra Dijkstra. I can't say that properly.
Yeah, it's Tao Lee at Sandra Dijkstra. Yeah, lots of letters.
So, and also because it's a US based agent, so I'd be interested to hear about how that works. Do you feel like it's much different to having a UK agent? How does it work for you, and your journey to finding an agent? Because I mean, I do know what it's like as writers, but coming from an illustrator side of it, I feel like there's obviously there are differences in the way maybe you approach them. So how was it for you? How did you find your agent?
Well, I found my agent through Twitter, so she DM'd me. So that was quite unusual, I think, because and nice because I had applied to other agents a kind of traditional way, but they weren't interested. But I'm glad it worked out this way because Tao's a wonderful agent, and I think my work, for whatever reason, just fits the US market better, it seems. And I'm much kind of more visibly out there in the US than I am in the UK, even though I'm from the UK. So in the US, I'm in like all the big stores like Target and Barnes and Noble and Indies, which is really, really great.
Amazing.
Yes, it's just the kind of different market. But yeah, I've had a really good experience, and I love working with my editors, and yeah, it's different, but yeah, it seems to work for me.
So have you had to go over to the US for any to do like your book launches or any like book tours or anything?
I'd love to do that. That's something on my bucket list, to go to like the big Comic Cons, like San Diego Comic Con, and I'd love to go to New York and see my editors, and San Diego to see my agent. So I met my agent. She came over to London and we met up. I got the train down, which was really nice. But no, I haven't needed to go over for work because we can just do it all on the internet, and it's nice to do video calls. I'm glad that like technology exists because it's nice to like speak face to face sometimes. But yeah, it seems to work fine. Just remote. We live in a quite remote possibilities world now, so yeah. But I would love to go over for sure. Yeah.
Oh, that would be so cool. Go to the Comic Con over there as well.
Yeah, that would be
amazing.
Yeah.
So, is there any tips or advice that you can give to some like querying illustrators or author illustrators that are trying to get an agent or find publication?
Yeah, so the best resource out there, I think, is Anusha Sayed's YouTube, who is one of the artists in the book, actually. Where is she? She did Iqbal Mahmood and Jamal's bio, and she makes an amazing series aimed at illustrators and author illustrators about what do you need in your portfolio, how to approach agents. All of these questions are answered
That's so
beautifully.
helpful.
Yeah, so helpful. There's lots of other books I'd recommend as well. So there's the Children's Writers and Authors Yearbook. You can get the latest year. That has really good guest essays and a list in the back of like all the agents, and like lots of questions are answered there. I'd also recommend pretty much every book by Martin Salisbury. He runs or is the like main lecturer at Cambridge School of Art, the MA for children's books, and his books are excellent. And in general, read lots of children's books and what you'll need for
So
your
important.
portfolio. Yeah,
So
it is
to do
important.
that.
Like you need to know what's out there, and just see what you like and see what you don't like, and like make notes and like look at what works and what doesn't. And yeah, there's so much. I could talk for hours about all the advice. I used to be a lecturer as well, so talk about this a lot. But yeah, I think the main advice is not to give up, because it's such a long process. Publishing's very, very slow, especially when you come from something like animation, which is like incredibly fast paced and you get feedback like immediately on Slack. But publishing, you might wait 3 months for feedback, and it's like being on submission takes a long time, and like getting an agent can take a long time, and it's just it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think that applies to everyone, no matter what stage of their career they're in, whether they're like first applying or whether they're got 3 books out. It's a waiting game, and I think you just have to have faith and like celebrate the milestones along the way. And in terms of what you need to approach, so if you write as well as illustrate, you're looking for a literary agent, not an illustration agent. If you don't write and you're not interested in ever writing, then yeah, you'll have to get an illustration agent. I always say make sure that the illustration agents that you're applying to don't represent thousands of people and only have 5 members of staff, because do the maths, you're probably not going to get the same amount of attention as you would for a smaller one. And yeah, there's so much advice. I don't know how much time we have, so if you have any more specific questions, let me know. But yeah, just don't give up, and always remember to make art and writing that you enjoy and want to do more of, because it's always sod's law that if you put something out there that you think that's what people want, but you hated doing it, that's probably what they're going to ask you to do more of, because that's just the law of sod's law. But do what you love, and other people will come along for the ride, because people can always tell when you really care about something.
Yes, yeah, I love this, because I feel like this is something that so many people like creatives would feel like you do what you love, and that shows. And it's the same with illustration, it's the same with writing, it's the same with making music. If you're like you're forcing something just to get published, it's probably not going to catch someone's attention as much as something that you'd put your heart into. And I think that's really important. And especially like I think if you're trying to get an illustration agent or a literary agent and you build your portfolio, I think what you just said there is like, don't put in things that you hate to do, because like, you know, like you said, it's sort of law that someone will go, oh yeah, can you like for instance, I like buildings. I don't like drawing buildings, but actually I've got all this landscape now that I want, and you have to do that, and you absolutely hate it. So just in your portfolio, just show what you love to do and what you'd like to continue to do. But
exactly,
definitely that range is important. But
I think it's like show a range, but a range that you enjoy. Like I never want to make a book probably about horses or unicorns, because I don't like drawing horses. I mean, that's like a classic illustrator thing that was hard to draw, but it's just because that's not my aesthetic. Like I'm probably not going to make a fairy book unless it was an autumnal one or something. I don't know, but like just I think there's a bit of a myth that like you have to have like dinosaurs, like you have to have like maybe, but if you really hate it, don't force yourself. Like just do what you enjoy.
I love this. It's really interesting to hear, like from an artist's point of view. Like you said, you don't like drawing horses or unicorns. It's really. I just love hearing like how individual everybody is and what they love, and what, you know, we've all got likes, we've all got dislikes about what we like to do or draw or read. And yeah, I think it's just so interesting. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's really it's good, and I think it's really helpful to people out there that are trying to build their portfolio, and they're trying to put everything in. So just put in what you love, and that I think that's really, really good advice. So yeah, I'm really interested. So you've got your 3 books out at the moment. So can you tell us what's next? I know it's quite secretive out there in publishing, but is there anything that you're working on that you're allowed to talk about at the moment, or any more good news coming in very soon? Or
there is some good news. It's not a new book deal yet, but it's some good news about stuff that I need to announce. I'll just say it because it's already out there. But we got another starred review for Drawn to Change the World, which is really nice. I just need to make a post about it. Put it in the School Library Journal, which is like a really good one. So I'm really happy.
Amazing, well done.
Thank you. But yeah, in terms of what I'm working on, I'm working on 2 picture book pitches. So wish me luck. That's what's next, basically. I've been so busy doing events for Drawn to Change the World and running my shop because it's the lead up to Christmas and you've got to make money, that I am a little bit behind. So I'm just working away on that when I can and carving out time.
Oh, that's amazing. And well, you said to wish you luck. So good luck with writing those picture books and the lead up to Christmas with your shop. So is this your Etsy shop with selling all your prints and your books and everything?
Yes, I was on Etsy, but now I just host it on my own website. So I make kind of prints and pins and cards and stuff related to Amara and the Bats and other things, just as like a nice side thing, because I like going to Comic-Cons and talking about the book and craft fairs and
you have so you do your stuff like a pop-up store at the fairs and stuff like that. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Everyone needs to check it out. So check out Emma's website because I do have a pin and it's gorgeous. So I think you sell your books signed and stuff on there as well.
Yeah, I sell my signed books there. Yeah, so but they either support your local indie or buy it from me. That's all good.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, Emma. Thank you for sharing your journey and telling us a little about what's coming up next. It's so interesting.
Thank you. What are you working on now? I'd love to know. Yeah.
I'm currently working on my YA. I'm out on submission at the moment with the chapter book. But yeah, I'm working on my YA. I haven't wrote a picture book for ages, and I went back to it the other day after I was inspired by the Kidlit live that I had with John on Thursday, and that was really nice to get back to my otter story, which I hadn't thought about for a while. So I think I've written 7. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I know I've got it all set out in my head, but and it's rhyme, so it just takes a bit longer. So I've done like 7 spreads of that, and I wrote another spread the other day, and I was like, but that took like about a couple of hours because you think like a spread isn't that long, but when you're, I know I'm quite a perfectionist. I don't like just to get it out on paper first. I won't put it down until I feel like it's perfect. I'm so annoying. I really annoy myself. And it's the same with my YA. Like everyone's like, just get your first draft out. And I'm like, I can't. I have to do this and I need to get some feedback. And then I've got
because everyone has a different process.
Exactly. But yeah, I wish that I could just do that first draft, like rubbish draft. But yeah, I haven't got the time. Like I feel I'm quite impatient, so like I haven't got that time to waste. It sounds so
I know
weird.
what you mean. It's hard not to edit as you go completely, but yeah, I think I'm a kind of half and half. Like I mean, I haven't written a full chapter book or anything, but with the graphic novel, I always kind of get it down and then edit. Oops, sorry, my camera. I just hit my laptop. I edit it a bit, but yeah, I do tend to like kind of edit as I go as well. So yeah, I'm probably a perfectionist as well, I think.
Yeah, I did write one. I think it was it must have been 2 years ago, and I'd done like NaNoWriMo, and I wrote like 30,000 words, and then I basically chucked it all away because it wasn't how I wanted it, and I rewrote it all over again, and I was like, what a waste of time that was. But it probably wasn't.
I don't think it is, because was it Terry Pratchett that said the first time you write it, you're telling yourself the story?
Yes, and
I think that was him.
I met up with Annalise Avery, so she'd written the Immortal Games, and she was telling me her process. So she writes it, completely just deletes it, and rewrites it again from memory.
Oh my goodness,
and
I
was
couldn't
like,
do
"That's
that. I'd be
so
like, all my
serious."
zingers, all my beautiful sentences. No.
Oh no, I was like, oh yeah, I was having. I mean, I suffer with anxiety, and I was like, I could feel myself, just like my heart was going. I was like, I could never do that.
Oh, I couldn't do that. That's like
No.
in Little Women where the manuscript gets burned. I'd be like devastated.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, well, no, I just delete it. But I was like, what? Totally? Yeah, I just totally delete it.
Wow, that's brave.
Yeah, brave, very brave. But it works for her because
Yeah.
her books are great. But oh yeah, thanks for asking me. That's really kind. Thank you.
No, it's nice to hear what you're up to.
No, and thank you so much for coming on, and wish you all the luck with all your gorgeous books and with the books that you're working on now. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye out and adding to my collection. So and like I said, everybody head over to Emma's website, have a look at everything that she does. She is amazing. And yeah, it's been great to chat to you. It's been great to talk about your journey. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope everyone has a lovely evening. And thank you so much for having me, Arden.
Oh, thanks. See you later, Emma. Thank you. Bye. Oh, that was really great to hear from Emma about everything that she's up to. I really hope everyone enjoyed our chat tonight. I know that I did, and I can't wait to see what's next for her. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you again soon. See you later.